You're watching the Tesla Live with your host, Mark Cudlin.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tesla Life number 305. Here we are, another new month. We're into May 3rd, 2023. Welcome
May the
to
4th?
the show. And first in the chat room is David Watts.
Hello, David.
We missed
And
Star
now
Wars Day by a day.
Dana has joined us as well. But let's get to introductions here first. We've got Mr. Casey Green joining us from an undisclosed location in South Carolina. How are you today, sir?
Doing all right. It's getting unpacked a little bit.
Yeah.
I was mentioning before the show, did some home maintenance, replaced 6 light fixtures with LED fixtures. Some of them already had LED bulbs.
Recessed fixtures or external fixtures?
Some were hanging from the ceiling, and so I put them more flush options, and then in the bathrooms I replaced all of the vanity lights because they were rusting.
And of course, that's with LED bulbs. So right?
Yeah. The only one that I don't know if I somehow missed them the first time around when I switched the whole house to LEDs, or if somebody stole my LEDs and replaced them with incandescents. Was the one in the hallway. So now they're all LEDs again.
In the party, you got to check people's purses and bags when they leave to make sure they didn't swipe your LEDs.
Yes.
Well,
I mean, they got my.
I got these fantastic 1912 incandescent bulbs.
Yeah, that's why I pulled out. What is this, glass? But it wouldn't be surprising. 2 security cameras and their solar panels were missing, and the wings to mount the TVs to the mounts were missing.
Very good, very good. Well,
I'm sure not for the most decent person either.
I'm sure the improvements will continue.
They will.
Also joining us, we have Mr. Patrick Gonner joining us from the West Coast. Looks like it's a sunny day in Oregon. How are you doing today?
It is. Yeah, cranking out the kilowatt hours. Yeah, it's nice over here. Hello, Tesla Nation. Should be a fun show. Let's get rolling.
Fantastic. Our first story, Casey, I'm going to ask you to make sure the audio doesn't happen on our first story. I'm going to show a video clip from the Twitter feed. And let's just share this. This, of course, is going to be a car that's pulling the disappearing act. So let's see if we can share the Twitter feed. Boom.
You uncheck the audio, right? All right, here, I can do it from here. There we go.
Watch this right in the corner.
Wow. Whoa!
And it's gone.
Derek, it's a guitar case.
That was a disappearing act, let me tell you. So that was in Taiwan, and it was caught, of course, just by a regular street cam, security cam that they had. But yeah, that's something that no Tesla owner would like to see, or I imagine any car owner would like to see, that their parked vehicle on the side of the road just pulls one of those tricks you see in a Hollywood movie. It reminds me of the bank job with the Mini Coopers, the car disappearing like that.
Exactly.
Are you sure it wasn't dropping down into a new boring tunnel? That is how they were going to do it, right?
That was what it did. Look similar to the demo.
It just folded in and zoom 300 miles an hour that way.
Other than the roll, it looked exactly like the boring demo.
Oh, this is the problem. Battery electric cars are too heavy, so it's totally the EV's fault. There was some sarcasm in there if you're listening to the podcast.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that, Patrick. I had my driveway changed to concrete about 1.5 years ago, and they lay down about 5 inches of concrete, I believe it is, to do a driveway that way. And I said to the contractor, I said, Now, I own nothing but electric vehicles. They're a lot heavier than regular cars. You realize that? And the guy looks at me like I'm stupid. And he says, you'll be able to park a dump truck on your driveway and nothing's going to happen. So don't worry about that.
Nice. Yes. That's the right answer. Not, oh, we didn't think of that. It's
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's going to be close. No. So I went out and changed my Tesla for a dump truck. So just tested it out.
Yes, I heard electric dump trucks are all
Electric dump truck, exactly. Patrick's got our next story, and it's about the California participation in the Powerwalls.
That's right. So we have talked about Last Bulb on here before, and they track California VPP, Tesla's VPP in California, I should say, and they've hit a new milestone. So the VPP is now capable, has an energy capacity of 100 megawatt hours. So 100 megawatt hours. In a typical day, a house uses about 30 kilowatt hours. So just, 3 orders of magnitude. So this is enough to power about 3,000 homes. And this is actually really cool because we've talked about how VPPs can help the grid when there's demand. It's energy on tap. You can use it when you need it. It comes immediately. There's no spin up of some generator or whatever. And with California's new NEMS rules, it really encourages you to have batteries. And so there are now 6,691 homes participating in this with over 7,400 Powerwalls. So the bigger this network gets, the more energy there is that the grid can tap into when it's needed. And we've got a hot summer coming. And the worst thing about the globe getting hotter, there's lots of horrible things. Maybe this isn't the worst, but it's bad for a particular reason. As it gets hotter, you're going to need more AC. Well, if that AC is being powered by a fossil grid, that puts more greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, which makes hotter summers. It's a bad cycle. And if this means you can be using renewable to run those air conditioners when it's late in the evening after the sun has set, it's all the better. Better than spinning up some diesel generator that was a peaker plant. Those are some of the worst polluting ones that are out there. And if we can do this instead, it's all for the better.
Or methane turbine or coal plant.
Yeah, definitely not that. Yes, please no.
Absolutely, but it's good to see that this number just keeps increasing on this pilot program that they're running with the utilities there in California. So
Yes.
It started off with only a couple thousand Powerwalls. Now we're at 6,700 plus. So that's fantastic. The more the merrier.
Yeah, definitely.
I wonder if it'll get to 10,000. I have no real
yeah.
idea how many. I would imagine, just like electric cars, that that California is probably the king of Powerwalls in number, I would assume. So it'll be interesting to see as this continues along as to how many people join that little pilot project.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Australia has beat us on the installed Powerwalls.
Yeah, well, yeah, they certainly, especially in South Australia, they've got the high power prices to drive it. So but then again, California too, right? Like
in the States, I would say it's definitely California or Texas, but I would go with California.
Yeah. So that's kind
in
of
Texas the power's cheap, but it's not as reliable. So there's a good reason to have it. And in California, it's expensive.
Power's cheap because it's not there.
You can't build me if you don't use it.
Right. It's cheap until it isn't, and then it's horribly expensive.
That's right.
Some people got some crazy bills.
Yeah.
$10,000 for that one night.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, so that's great. We'll have to see. We'll certainly report on this as this continues to go along. They seem to be updating us about once every month or month and a half. So
I think that's when Westfield does their bulk report.
Yeah, there's a saying that I think applies here. The future's already here, it just isn't evenly distributed. Right now, it's bulked in the few places we just mentioned. But I think this is going to be the way. This is the way.
Exactly. And for those in the chat room, David has indicated that our audio is dropping out. I'm just wondering if the others in there, Derek, Hockey Day, June, David, or is anyone else seeing the audio dropout, or is that working okay? Just let us know in the chat.
Yeah, Casey was dropping out for me earlier, but now you're getting a strong signal. When you first started, it was spotty.
Okay.
Probably because I opened all the articles at one time and my computer was like, whoa!
Thanks, Hockey Day. Derek, appreciate it. David as well.
Cool.
Let's move on. And this is a story that I just caught kind of by mistake. There was a, I guess it was an article, well, a video article that was produced by PBS. And Miles O'Brien, who's been one of their reporters for an awfully long time. Miles has been at PBS for as long as I can remember.
Ever since he left DS9.
Yeah, yeah. Great
engineer.
That's a Star Trek joke for those of you that are not on it. But Miles decided he was going to do a test on the electric vehicle charging infrastructure out there. And he got himself a Rivian, actually with a Rivian representative, and walked them through the operation of the vehicle. And they were going to test out charging. And they were going to go from Los Angeles area up to San Francisco. So just over 600 miles, I guess it is. And the this is difficult because I applaud him for trying this, but what I had a problem with is that there was no planning involved, really. Basically, he looked at the Rivian screen and it told him places to go for a charge along his route. And it took him off his route, took him to different places, took him to chargers that didn't work, took it to places that had issues with the reliability or the speed of the charging. He at one point was charging the vehicle for 8 hours and he got 88 miles out of an 8-hour charge.
What? Was he plugged into 120 household outlet?
He was basically plugged into something that was only producing like 120. Like it was just maybe it might have been 240 at 20 amps.
To be fair, there are two things that would work in his favor for this. One, if he had done this in a Tesla, it would have been fine. And two, if he had been anywhere near where the Magic Dock was deployed, then Rivian would have put the Tesla superchargers in his screen instead.
Well, there's only 2 Magic Docks in California, right?
That's what I'm saying.
So
he's in the wrong vehicle and network for this.
He was in the wrong vehicle, wrong network for what this was doing. So it took him 7 stops at chargers to go 600 miles.
What?
And it was, and he, you can watch the video. The link's in the description of the show here. But it was painful to watch. Obviously, not everybody owns a Tesla. Not everyone can have a Tesla. But some of the charging, if there was some planning done with this, I know the 3 of us, we could have done it in a far less time. It wouldn't have taken us 2 days and 7 stops. There were things that went wrong along the way, but he wasn't prepared to deal with it. He didn't have a plan B. It was all just on the fly, and that was part of his problem.
Yeah, you can only do that in a Tesla today. My question though is, why did it take him 7 stops? Isn't the shortest range Rivian like 250 miles?
Right. So it shouldn't have been like 2
Well, the 7 stops, Casey, were because some of the places he were going, he couldn't get a charge. None of the 4 units would work. None of them would accept his credit card.
That reminds me of the one with like Motor Trend or somebody where they did like diesel versus gas versus electric trucks, and the Lightning had a hard time of it because they were going exclusively on Electrify America.
So, like, I know this, especially in California, this can be done, and it can be done in a proper amount of time. But it's because he didn't have the advice as to what to do. He didn't have the ability to know that I need, with anything other than a Tesla, I need a plan A, a plan B, and possibly a plan C. He didn't have those things in his basket of knowledge. And when he had a Rivian representative sitting beside him at the start of this piece, I thought, oh, well, the Rivian
Be
person
all
was
right.
going with them. Well, they
Yeah.
didn't. They just told them
Oh,
some
man.
basic stuff, and they got out of the truck, and then it was him and his co-pilot for the rest of the time. So it was weird watching it. I was a bit upset watching it, going, how many people is this really misinforming about the status of electric vehicles and charging in Southern California? Like, it was charging can easily be done in California, probably easier than any other state in the union because of the amount of it. But then again, there's that doubling or tripling amount of problems with that charging network that's not Tesla is also present. And that's what this piece really kind of ended up on. So I think a lot of people looked at it and probably said, oh, electric's not ready, not yet.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people either were, that wasn't in their wheelhouse. They saw that, think, oh, it must be terrible, or worse, they already had made up their minds and they're going to use this against everybody that they know. Oh yeah, this doesn't work. It took him 12 hours of charging and 6 stops to go 600 miles. I can do that in one tank of Camry.
Yeah. So it is. It's kind of disappointing. I did send a tweet to Miles directly with the real facts that he could have seen if he did a little bit more research on the subject. But of course, I didn't get any response back. I wasn't really expecting one, but I could not send him a note now that I knew he had a Twitter address. I sent it to him directly and tried to push him that there are better ways to describe it. And if you had done some pre-planning or did it in a Tesla, that trip could have been a lot more carefree and a lot faster.
Or use the Better Route Planner app. It's free.
Yeah,
right.
That's
and it does take into account what your car can do.
Yeah.
Hockey Day is wondering if perhaps it was a foot piece, and I think it was just incompetence because it is PBS. So unless this guy is taking some funding on the fly, then they shouldn't be funded by Big Oil. Not as an ad.
So you can question his motives, but the fact that he goes to a place that has 4 chargers and none of them work, that's a problem. And that's not on him.
It does, but it should never happen.
It should never happen. That's ridiculous. The infrastructure is something that we rely on, and there should be penalties for those companies that are operating it if it's not functional. We've talked about uptime. If you have no network, like there was in 2007 when I started driving EVs, you don't count on it, and you find ways. You plan stopping at campgrounds or at friends' houses, or you just, for those drives, you don't take the EV. But having one that you think you can use and then you get there and it doesn't work, that's worse than having none in the first place because you planned on it, and then now what? You're stuck.
Yeah, and since the launch of the Supercharger network, I've been to 2 complete site outages, and by been to, I mean I take that as a loosely because the car knew about them and tried to push me around them, and I still showed up to see why they were down.
That's on you.
So the car told you, and you said, "I'm still going. I don't care."
Well, sometimes it says it's down and it's not, but if you're a new Tesla owner or if you're pushed for time, do what I always tell any other owner is listen to the screen, and then once you get a feel for the car, then you can decide to start skipping or short changing stops. But don't do what it says in the meantime. Like if it says, "Hey, slow down to get there," trust it.
Yeah. So I mean, look at the shirt I'm wearing, Chevy Volt. Why do I think that was a great EV? Because in a lot of the parts of the country, there isn't a great infrastructure. So if you drive something like this, a plug-in hybrid, you can have it in electric mode for most of your drives and gas when you need to go farther. And I wish GM wouldn't have got rid of it because we're getting to a point where sure you can go all electric in certain parts of the country or for certain use cases or depending on your needs, but we're not there. We're like, oh yeah, everybody should be 100% electric. So a plug-in hybrid for some people is the right answer. And it's there's so many things to rant about here.
Yeah. Well, I I asked people to go take a look at it and, let us know what you think. Send us a note in the Twitter feed or send Miles O'Brien your spin on it. See if he answers you.
Don't be the Teslarati Elon fan base here. Be polite.
Just be polite and courteous, and just let them know that there are other ways to charge a vehicle that will not take 7 stops in 2 days. In order
not
to
that I think anybody in our
miles.
audience is that way, but this just bears being said. Another thing I noticed on this is that the comments are turned off on their little video. So I'm wondering if they had an outpouring of constructive criticism,
maybe,
or if they just turn off all their comments.
Maybe. I'm not sure. We'll have to see.
But primarily, the main reason I went from other EVs to Tesla was the charging network. I mean, there's a lot of other cool things with Tesla too, but being able to drive where I need to and know it's going to work, that's awesome.
That's priceless, isn't it? It's something that allows you to drive carefree and know that, especially now that they've increased the supercharger network dramatically from when even I started 5 years ago. It's day and night, but even back at that 5 years ago, it was possible to drive cross country several times, different routes. Never had an issue crisscrossing around. Obviously, there were areas that were not serviced, but in my case, I was not going to those areas that were not serviced. But today, some of those non-serviced areas were even serviced. So it's a dramatic difference in 5 years.
Like Arkansas and Alabama,
exactly.
They were holes in the map for a while.
Yeah.
On a related note, China now has the non-Tesla supercharger program as well. So
yes, they have. Yeah, it's funny he couldn't do this. I've driven from Portland to San Diego and back a couple times, and it's not a problem.
Yeah.
So the fact that he couldn't go from LA to San Francisco is horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that trip in less time than he did. Going 3 times the distance.
Derek, the coast-to-coast Canadian route is still improving. They're adding to it as we go along. You can certainly do it, and there are points in between that they're filling in even more gaps. So yes, it's improved since they started.
And they had the along the coast, the west coast, connected to the American one pretty much from the beginning.
Yeah,
that one was pretty good.
Yeah. And now there's a lot of in-betweens into Manitoba, Ontario, and other places as Saskatchewan. There's crossings now all across the U.S. border. Next, Patrick's got a story about a Model S and what was going on with it in Washington.
That's right. Sticking to the left coast here. Police believe Tesla fire was due to battery. No, it wasn't. Turns out it was arson. So this is sad that the police just assumed, an electric car's on fire, must have been the batteries. Well, after everything was said and done, the owner was able to get to their video stored on the system. And I'm as trashed as this car was, I'm surprised they were able to get anything off of it. But it actually showed someone coming up and dumping gas on the car and then lighting it. And I guess they thought, this car doesn't use gas. Well, I'll make it use gas.
Yeah, Teslas aren't really compatible with gasoline.
Right, yes. They ran into a compatibility problem. So this is a Model S that was in Spokane, Washington. Police believed it was a battery fire. Turns out it was arson. And
looking at the picture, there's no way you could think that was a battery fire because that's not even where the 12-volt battery is.
Yeah, the damage is very much on the surface down, whereas batteries would be bottom up. But
the whole car.
we've seen this with police and other Tesla incidents where they just assume, it was autopilot, or it was this, or it was that.
Yeah.
Do your job and investigate. Don't just make assumptions. You're not some idiot on a bar stool who can just talk trash. You're a professional. Act that way. So anyway, that was just.
Police told him electric cars tend to catch on fire. Cool.
Yeah, so the data is clear. EVs are less prone to fires than gas cars, It's just that every one of them that happens makes the news. It's not the other way around, even though there's more than 100,000 gas car fires every year. So anyway, there's this bias of what data you're being fed. And if you're not aware of it, you're just going to assume that's the truth. And that's not the truth.
Exactly. Good to point out, though, because those false rumors certainly do not get corrected by media outlets. They just let it roll. So it's good. It's good to point it out when it is actually factual as to what happened. Next, Casey's got a story about the Model Y and a bit of a price reduction depending on which one you're buying.
Yes. Tesla massaged all their prices worldwide recently. And the article is about they dropped the price on the most spacious Model Y. So on Sunday, I took issue with the phrasing of this. Why don't they just say the most capacious, the most number of seats? I would not call the 7-seat Model Y the most spacious. But either way.
Oh, see, I would go the other way. If you take the seats out, there's more actual space. Maybe not seating, but cargo space. And
right.
So I don't know.
I would challenge anybody to ask a person that resides in those third seats as to how spacious it actually is.
It isn't a small child.
Yes, for children. Yes.
My argument Sunday was that that it actually has less space than the 5-seat Model Y because you lose those storage compartments where the seat back would be. Where the seat back is, there are actually compartments for you on the standard Model Y. So basically, they dropped the price on the 7-seat option, so it's now $3,000 from $4,000. But then they changed the prices of everything else in the fleet. So
right.
The third row started as a $3,000 option, and then went up to 4K.
And then went up to 4, and now it's back to 3.
Yeah.
But like we keep saying, if you have the budget and you see something you like,
like
get it when it's available.
It all changed again just the other night. So it is a moving target. And sometimes in this case, the price moved twice in 1 week on the Model Y third row. So if for those of you who are interested in following along, man, move when you see it works for you.
Yeah, I mean, I can guarantee you it's going to change, but will it change in your favor? And will the features you want still exist?
Yeah,
it's as volatile as their stock price.
Almost as much, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Derek says basis for babies and small children. Exactly.
Next, I wanted to show a photo that someone had posted on Twitter that we had shared on our feed, which was kind of interesting that I didn't even know was there. It's the Kilowatts that shared it. And
some good stuff.
Let's just share this right here.
Ryan is everywhere, and crew.
Oh, yeah, I'm really good at this, obviously.
He's looking for the button. There it is.
That's not the photo I was looking for.
Hey, well, while Mark's showing you there our Twitter feed, you should check us out on Twitter. The Tesla Life, all one word.
Here you go.
Here it is. So the Kilowatt shared this photo, and he was actually surprised by saying, when did congestion mapping show up on the Tesla app?
Right.
And you can see the different colors on the route. So it is showing congestion. And I quickly jumped onto my app to see if I had it. And no, my line was blue all the time until I read the fine print. If you're actually driving, the congestion mapping appears. If you're not driving, it's just the regular blue line.
But if I'm driving, I'm not looking at the map in the app. I'm looking at the app on the map on the screen.
Well, but it also could be passengers could look at congestion if they wanted to. But this is that's what I thought was a little bit funny was why would they just do it when you're driving? But maybe that's data pulls, and they're just feeling that there's no need to show that if you're not going to be driving.
Maybe one of you two let your kids drive the Tesla instead of their more close to home range vehicles, and they they gave you the excuse, oh, I'm late because of traffic. Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
Maybe they're thinking that if you're in the app, you're doing route planning. That doesn't mean you're going to leave right now. So showing you traffic at this moment for a drive you're going to take tomorrow or 4 hours from now might not be of any value. And if they're paying for that congestion data, and like you said, that's more data pulls, that might increase their costs. I don't know.
But if you're already driving, you've got it in the car. Well, you know what though? Like you said, if it's another data pull, you can just copy the one that the car's already done.
Exactly. So yeah, if you're driving, they've already got that data as part of your account that's up to date for the drive you're on, so they can populate it. If you're just on your app, they're not going to pull that data. It's not needed, and it might not even apply. So why?
Maybe it's not even them being cheap. Maybe they're not licensed for it to be on a mobile app.
Yeah, could be.
But they can copy it from the car.
I'm amazed it's there. No one picked up on it until a week later. But
you're not supposed to use your phone and drive. The
autopilot,
give your points off.
Maybe that's it.
That's the appropriate response. What are you doing looking at your phone while you're driving?
But again, glad to see they keep updating this thing. It's going to be a fully functional app, obviously, before they're done. So more and more things are coming, I'm sure, to make it more robust for a person that doesn't own a Tesla. They can do all the Tesla things on their phone instead of having to have the Tesla. And of course, it's going to direct them to those superchargers as they start appearing with the Magic Dock, more and more of them. So,
if they don't have a Tesla, does the phone figure out they're driving just off GPS speed and location changes?
Yep, I bet it does.
Yeah. Mr. O'Brien could have been like, "Computer, show me the routes to get here with this newfangled car contraption," and it would route it.
Beam me to Los Angeles.
Yeah. Talk about getting there quick.
Sorry, the Worldwide Transporter Network is offline.
Next, I wanted to talk a little bit about, yes, Texas gives Tesla another kick in the pants. This is a story that happened this week where Tesla has decided that now EVs are going to have to pay a registration fee once a year for $200. So that's for their licensing fee. And we saw this happen in Georgia and other states. I think Georgia's even a little higher. I think they're at $225.
I think most states are higher. Georgia, Massachusetts, Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina.
And I don't mind having to pay a registration fee like everybody else is covered because, of course, they're contributing to gas taxes. That's fine. I understand that. But what I have a problem with is why are you taxing a EV at the rate that a Hummer would pay in gas tax?
Higher usually, usually way higher, unless that Hummer is doing 80,000 miles a year. I would be fine with it if it matched, like say an Audi A6 or A8, another large SUV, or in the case of the Model 3, SUV, large sedan. Model 3 should be it's only like 200 pounds heavier than a BMW 3. So the way that all these states have done the fees is not proportional to the damage done to the road, not proportional to what they've lost in gas revenue.
Yeah, it just seems to be a tax grab. There in the comments, David has indicated that Illinois is $251 a year. You know, this is crazy.
It's 500 in South Carolina and Virginia.
That's 500 it's
wow.
At that point,
that's not even the highest. Some places get charged $750.
Oh, that's unbelievable.
Can you do a class action lawsuit against your state? No, I don't know how that. I don't think you can. But there's something needs to be done. That is ridiculous. Like you said, Mark, paying your fair share. I'm all for that. We need to use the roads. We need the roads to be maintained. I have absolutely no problem paying my fair share. Now, what's ridiculous is when they go well beyond that, and this is more than you would have paid in gas tax, and sometimes double.
And with the gas tax, you're not spending it all in state. You're spending some of it in other states when you travel.
Right. Yeah, that's ridiculous. If they want to move to something that's fair, have everyone report their odometer on their state taxes every year, and you pay a certain amount based on the weight of your vehicle or whatever metric, and do that instead, and then don't have gas taxes at all.
Don't do it the way Virginia did, asking me for my freaking Tesla credentials. Screw that.
Oh, no way. Yeah, I'm not going to let someone else log it. No.
No, you're not logging into my car.
No, not going to happen.
Like, if Tesla made an API, I might consider it. But no, I'm not giving you the actual ability to open my garage door, open my doors, move my car. No.
So Hockey Day's asking a question here. EVs are heavier. Does that result in more road damage? And if you do the math, it's almost irrelevant. The real road damage is coming from large trucks. 18-wheelers and snow tires, chains. Vehicle weight it's like Mark with your concrete driveway. It doesn't matter if you have a 2-ton truck on there or a 3-ton. It's well below the threshold of what that would cause any damage. Yeah, look, they can fall right through the road.
Yeah, we just saw that.
Call back to the beginning of the show.
Yeah, we just saw that. We were fighting a losing battle here, guys.
That's more than a pothole.
But it also depends on the EV and its manufacturer, because like the Hummer EV has got a battery pack that weighs more than a Honda Civic, but the Model 3, like I mentioned earlier, weighs just a couple hundred pounds, like 200 or so pounds more than the corresponding BMW, and some of the short range cars, like not necessarily like the 100-mile, but the just shorter range versions of all the various models available, they either equal or are lower than their compatriots.
Yeah, I wonder how much our little Chevy Spark EV weighs. It's got to be lighter than a lot of gas vehicles.
Yeah, but I don't know if it'd be lighter than a Spark. It might be.
Yeah, it's probably, but it's not a long range vehicle, so it's not going to have a lot of batteries that are super heavy.
Yeah, it's proportional though. Again, I don't have a problem with paying our fair share. It's just that certainly in my mind, 200 or in others 750 sounds absolutely prohibitive. And is not a fair share. It's weighted the other way.
$750 in gas taxes in 1 year in one state, and that's not some sort of like taxi driver or Uber driver or something.
Yeah, and it's especially ridiculous that some of the states actually have incentives to get you to buy an EV, and this is effectively trying to take it away. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They give you an incentive, and then they try to claw it back in 2 years.
Right. Right.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Next, last week we touched upon finding out that there was a new special Model Y coming to Canada, and that, of course, is to unlock the tax incentives for the Model Y, which is great. We also heard that it was probably coming from China. They're going to be shipping that Model Y standard range from China, rear-wheel drive, to Canada to sell We also heard this week that there may be some Model 3 standard ranges coming from China to Canada as well. So that's a change. We've been getting everything else from Fremont to this point. I am wondering if there's going to be a difference in Fremont in the number of Model Ys or Model 3s that they're actually selling standard range that come from that factory. Or if there's something else that's happening where maybe they're going to drop the Model 3. The problem is that Canada isn't a large market, right? We're relatively small. We can be tacked on almost like an additional state. So I'm not really sure why those Model 3s possibly now may be coming from China as well in the standard range in the LFP battery pack. This is kind of a surprise. Maybe this is going to be corrected by Tesla. Maybe this is a short-term thing. Not really sure. Tesla hasn't commented on this story at all. So we're going to keep an eye on it. But we heard this this week, and it's kind of a surprise. So we thought we'd mention it.
Maybe they were just filling the ship, because you don't want to send half a ship if you've ordered a whole ship.
Maybe that's it. But it's just kind of weird. So we'll have to see if this continues. And of course, it's going to be easy to find out because right on the VIN number, there's an indicator as to what factory it comes from. So it's not like they can hide it. It's going to be there for anyone to see when they purchase or are about to purchase their vehicle. That VIN number is going to be present.
You know who can't see it? The drone army.
Yeah.
Because they can't get that close. I'm hoping it's just because they were filling the shipload. Because if they were to try to do like put some of them in there for China to go to Canada and then put some of them to US, they can't really sell them in the US right now because all of a sudden these units are $3,500 more expensive than the one right next to it.
Right. Yeah, because of the tax incentive would not count definitely on a car that was made at Shanghai.
Yeah.
So
with the Shanghai battery, like, why should I get this one? It costs more. No, just
why? But this one, exactly the same, is $3,500 less. I wonder which one I'll pick.
Right. Oh, yeah, use tax credit.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Casey, can you comment on this story about a tennis star with a Model X that ran into an issue? Do you know about this story or no?
This one is new to me. Let's see. We've seen cases like this before where folks have used the Tesla app and retrieved their cars or directed the constabulary to find their vehicle. Or in one case, we found it in the middle of the ocean. Well, not the middle of the ocean, but in a container ship in cell phone range.
Yeah, it doesn't ping a Marianas Trench at all. It doesn't ping well at all. Yeah. No, but this story is about tennis star Nick Kyroglas.
Yeah.
Let's go with
very
that.
Green Model X.
Got a very green, a very lime green Model X. But apparently, his mother was robbed at gunpoint, and then asked to open the car. And when the thief realized the vehicle was not what he was thinking it was, he got the mother to show him how to put it into drive so he could take off.
Let's take off running.
So he gets the quick refresher course.
Don't blame the mom for not running. She was at gunpoint.
No,
I'm not blaming mom for not running. I'm just saying that if this happens to you, they're saying that likely if you just run away, they'll either sit there frustrated or they won't have the time to bother with aiming and shooting in general.
So the mom, after the guy leaves, she quickly gets on the phone, calls Nick, lets her son know what happened, and Nick fires up the app and puts it into speed limited 80 kilometers an hour first.
Right. Yeah.
And
slap
then
them into valet mode, and then they can't.
And then calls the police and starts relaying the position of the vehicle as it's going along. So Nick helped the police get to it, find it, and confirm it was his car. And the thief was quickly apprehended
and tased. An important point: the cops tased the guy.
They couldn't shoot him because they're in Australia.
The latest in dumb criminals. If you don't know enough how to even start the car and get it into drive, you shouldn't be stealing it. Come on.
Right. Especially something quite so green. I mean, like, that just stands out. I'm looking for a lime green car.
Yeah.
One of my first videos on the channel after bringing it back was on this feature of you can, when you try to disenroll the Tesla from the Tesla app, it'll ask you your password. So that's a step up from what it used to do, where you could just turn off the monitoring and remove the car from the apps without having to enter a password or be a Tesla tech, which was quite an oversight. And it's good to see that this helped this guy out, him and his mom get the car back.
Yeah. Derek points out that car is electric green.
Of course it is. Way to go, Derek, with the dad jokes. Doing well. If you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up, not just for that joke, but for all the jokes you've heard tonight. We would appreciate the thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please press that subscribe button and help us out. And with that, on to our next story. And I think Patrick can take this one as well, because it's from his neck of the woods in Marysville, Washington.
Oh, right. Another left coast story. Let me pull that one up. So Tesla quietly secures a new facility, but its purpose remains a mystery.
Right.
Yes. So this is in Marysville, Washington, which is just north of Seattle. And so we know that Tesla is trying to grow as fast as possible. There's going to be a couple million more Teslas on the roads this year. And that means they're going to need more storage for whether it's a delivery center or parts, a new service center. Who knows what this is going to be? But the fact that they are securing new locations is should not be a surprise to anybody. And the only mystery here is, what's this one going to be?
Yeah, it's kind of similar to the one that was signed up for just north of St. Louis. It's kind of similar. So maybe this is it's the unsold cars. That's where they're going. David's got the story for us. Absolutely.
That's right off Tesla Q right there.
Yeah,
that's
exactly. Exactly. The mounds of unsold cars to be stored somewhere. They're actually renting space because it's not enough to burn money at both ends by just making and not selling the cars. You gotta buy a place to place them. Absolutely. Yeah, so it's my bet is some sort of distribution center that they're locking down key areas of the country based on travel and the ability to logistic wise move things. I don't think it could be some sort of a factory spinoff, like maybe it's another megapack like in Lathrop. Maybe it's something along that line, but my bet's going to be on some sort of parts network that they're putting together. And I think that's what was happening in St. Louis as well. We still haven't heard, but that's my guess.
Draw great circles around from the Tesla factories to these random places in the range of the Tesla Semi and see what you find out.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't know what this one's going to be, but here they in Tigard, they built a new service center, and we already had one in downtown Portland, but now having one on the west side just makes it a whole lot easier than getting to downtown. So I was quite happy to have one on my side of town. It's a lot easier now if I need to go get service. And I haven't actually been there yet. Cars don't need service enough. In fact, I think I'm going to make some. Go change this air filter. It doesn't need it, but I just wanted to come visit you guys, and I'll bring you a 6-pack. And we'll hang out at the service center on a Saturday. Good times. That's living the Tesla life.
That's living the Tesla life for sure. Absolutely. I'm only showing up because I just wanted to visit the guys at the service center. I don't really have nothing for them to do, so I got them to change out a filter that I've already done in my driveway.
And I brought donuts.
Don't forget on Model X, there's the reusable filter available from OMU.
Oh, take it out, blow it out, put it back.
Not that kind of reusable. Tesla makes you throw away the housing and the mount and everything on the Model X, and on the OMU you just rip out that filter material and then put in this new insert.
Keep the housing and stuff the same. Okay, that's a good idea. Less waste.
Absolutely. I mean, you only have to do it every 4 years.
That's really good.
So twice in the life of the car.
Next story. This, of course, is the return of the Model 3 Long Range All-Wheel Drive. So it showed up just the other day in the order screen in the US. It's now available. I didn't check Canada. I could have kicked myself. I was supposed to check it before the show, but I didn't. But that is now available again. And there's something a little bit strange about this car. It's got a 325-mile rating for range, okay, which is normal from what I believe it used to be, or close anyways. But the weird thing is that they indicate that it's not available for the full federal credit. It's only available for half the credit. So that would indicate to me the battery's got to be different. It can't be made in Nevada if that's the case. This is not a 2170 battery made by Tesla in the United States.
That part, the last part.
So
speculation is that these could be the LG or Samsung cells that Tesla does consume great quantities of, and since they aren't made in the States, they would not qualify for being a free trade partner, and you would lose that part of the credit. They are still assembled into packs and assembled into the whole car here in the States, so that part still is retained.
So that's kind of a surprise. But again, we knew that Tesla was in the throes of buying every type of battery that they could because of battery constraint, right? So they were taking every different type they could, And this version of the Model 3 has now been off the market for over a year, I believe. It's been not available since Elon's tweet over a year ago indicating that the wait lines or queues were too long, and it was being taken off the menu because you can't order a car and wait over a year for it. Although I would beg to differ, I ordered a car and waited over 2 years, but that's neither here nor there. That's
3.
That is something that's kind of interesting. That the battery must be coming from another source outside of the U.S. Otherwise, why would it not qualify for the full credit?
Yep. I think I waited longer than you even, Mark, because I wanted the all-wheel drive version.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, you did. Yep. Yeah, because that was not the first one that was out the gate.
Right.
Yeah, folks have compared the weights and found that it does match the non-LFP packs in other countries pretty closely for weight. So it's definitely a normal battery.
That most likely it's maybe it would be the 2170. It's just that it's assembled elsewhere.
Right, or sourced elsewhere. Assembled here.
Oh, we're bragging about wait times, and David points out that none of us ordered a Roadster. Those poor people have been waiting 5 years, and some with big deposits.
And then to be told partway in, the price is going up, by the way.
That too, yeah. I thought that my Model 3 was 3 years and a number of minutes from when I ordered it.
No, it wasn't 3 years, was it? Mine was 24 months. No, I'm sorry, 26 months total.
You said Model Y, Casey?
No, Model 3.
Oh, okay.
I ordered a Model 3 before I got my Model S, and that yoinked me to the front of the line.
I ordered it the day after the reveal, and that was 26 months for it to come in.
Maybe it was only 2 years and some minutes then, because I was standing in line before we knew what they looked like.
Yep. I had to see what it looked like before I put my deposit down. I had to see.
Well, see, I made that mistake with the Cybertruck and I ended up on the second day doing that.
Well, with that, let's see what else have we got here. That's the last story of the night. But
don't leave yet if you're watching, because there's one thing I'm gonna do a little reveal later when it gets to.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mark.
Very good.
Trying to keep people around. They can't run off.
So, so if you haven't already, please give us that thumbs up on the video, press that subscribe button, and follow us through the week on our two feeds, Twitter @TheTeslaLife, and of course our Facebook feed, which Patrick narrates, which is the Tesla Life #1. And you can follow what happens between the weeks of the show. But with that, let's move to shout outs. And since Patrick's got something for us, we'll let him go first.
Oh, all right. So I don't know if any of you guys noticed that thing right there. Oh, right there. I'll go get it. And
that's not a Giga Beer, is it?
Dun, 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 dun. Yes, it is. I got some Giga Beer. Yes.
Wow.
If I knew, I would have brought my Tesla shot glasses. They came in as well.
Now, is that an actual bottle?
Yeah.
Yes. So it's a glass bottle, and it's wrapped in black plastic. So underneath this is clear glass. And I haven't opened one yet. I'm going to open one with some friends on Friday. Yep. Giga.
Very cool.
Yeah. And there's some other small print you'll probably never be able to see on the camera right there. I mean, yeah, it's just, you can barely see it in person. Ha. Proust. Yeah. So
now,
there you go.
Were you able to get that just through an online order, or did it come through a different way?
I have a friend in Munich.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. And so he ordered it and then packaged it up and wrote in English and German on the customs receipt 3 bottles of beer. And he said, you might never get this. Customs might grab it here. They might grab it there. They might make you go down and pick it up in person and show your ID and pay duty and because it's alcohol. So I said, I'll take the chance. And he said, all right, good luck. As long as you pay me for the shipping and the beer, it's on you. And it showed up. And in fact, so it went from DHL to USPS. and I had a tracking number so I could see when it went through customs in New Jersey. And then when the mailman delivered it to me, he was like, "Beer from Munich? Oh man, I was stationed in Munich. They have some great beer. Let's open one." He was kidding around, but it was, yeah, he was excited to hand me a package of beer.
Wow.
There you go.
So a 3-pack, huh? That's interesting.
Yeah.
So,
The funny thing is, when I asked my friend, I'm like, "Hey, there's some beer that I can, you can only get in Europe. Can you get some and send it to me?" He's like, "Sure, I'll grab you a 6-pack." And then he wrote back, "Oh my God, what price is this? This is crazy." He took back the "I'll grab you a 6-pack." And
you're lucky you got 3. Yeah.
Right.
I am, yes. Yeah, if there would have been more, I would have said, "Take one out and keep it for yourself," but I didn't. I kind of feel a little bad for it, but there's
Just a
only
bit.
3.
Yeah.
How many milliliters is it?
Oh, I don't know.
Or it's in milliliters.
330 milliliters.
Wow.
30. Okay.
Beer,
So you're-
alcohol, 5% it doesn't say ABV. It says ALC, 5% by volume.
So your standard can of pop is 355 milliliters. So just about the size of a
Yeah.
can of pop.
355. You got it. Right. Oh, I can't get it to focus, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, his country doesn't use freedom units, so it's a little easier for him.
So it's less than 12 ounces in this bottle.
Yep. Well, you'll have to report on it next week and let us know how it tasted.
I will, and don't get your hopes up. I'm going to be a biased reviewer because this is Oregon. We love beer here, and Germany has some very, very strict rules on. They don't allow creativity or innovation in their beer. I'm just going to come out and say it. So as far as I'm concerned, German beers are decades behind. But that okay. So
you're not going to let that taint your thought, though. That's you're not
trying to be unbiased, and I will fail horribly. Just.
Very good. Anything else you wanted to let us know? How about
sure. I blog at carswithcords.net. You can check that out. I have a post on what makes Tesla different in their product development cycle that I thought was actually really cool. And it explains a lot. It explains a lot of how their culture is different and how that makes them able to adapt and innovate faster than the legacy guys could ever even consider. And we've heard that kind of stuff from Sandy Munro, how, I tore it down this year and I tore it down a year later, and it's got so many changes in it, things that would have taken 5+ years for another auto company to do. Well, this blog post explains how that is able to be done. And I am with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org. Check it out. Thanks.
Very good. Casey, what do you got going this week?
On Sundays, you can catch me here at youtube.com at Casey Green. It's KACEY GREEN. And it's very much like this, except the scope is a little, not just Tesla, but there's still a lot of Tesla there. So hope to see you there.
And you didn't mention about the new supercharger in Charleston, South Carolina that just opened this week.
Oh, it opened.
It
I haven't
opened.
been down that way. Wow.
There you go.
I'll have to go visit it. It's a little out of the way for me, but it's not too far from the Costco, so I have to go visit.
It's in the south end, I believe.
It is. It's over in what we call West Ashley. They get real upset when I call the other side East Ashley. There's no such thing. I'm like, well, that's the Ashley River, right?
Is it east?
We're on the west side.
It does have
What's
an
over
east
there?
side and a west side, yeah.
No, that's North Charleston. Well, what's the other side? What's the bank over there called? North Charleston.
Oh, yeah.
Very good, very good. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Again, press that thumbs up button, and we will get together next week and find out what's happening in the Tesla life.
A future free from fossil fuels.
Exactly.
Oh, we got it.
Electrify all the things.